Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so today we're going to be looking at the AVS from retroUSB. This is essentially a premium NES clone. Pretty awesome stuff. So taking a look at the box here, we do have 720p HDMI video, NTSC and PAL options, NES and Famicom slots, the 4-score Pro built in, so 4 controller ports, cheat code database, the Game Shark, Famicom expansion port on the back. There is an online scoreboard and it is updatable through the USB. And we do have the official seal of quality. Pretty funny stuff. There's a seal on it. Har har. So pretty nice box, nothing amazing, gets the point across. Let's go ahead and open this bad boy and take a look at what's on the inside. So I don't want to damage the seal, so I want to keep this box nice and neat. This is a pretty pricey system for being an NES clone, but that's what we're looking at. Is it worth it? So inside the box, what's in the box? We do get a few little things. So let's put the box down and take a look. We do get our power brick for the mini USB plug. And we do get the USB plug as well, the cord. And then she does come with an HDMI cable. Nice. Can never have too many of those. And then the main attraction, obviously, is the system. It's got that similar color to the original NES. It looks really nice. On the inside of the lid, we do have the AVS logo. Right here's our Famicom slot, and then the back is our NES slot. And we do have 4 controller inputs, which is pretty awesome. Power button and reset button. Feels very reminiscent of the original NES. And on our back, we only have HDMI, our power, and then our Famicom expansion port. Underneath, nothing major, just the sticker with the model number and the retroUSB website. So, set that little fella aside. Can't wait to try her out. Let's take a look at the little manual. So, in the manual, just kind of briefly goes over the system, all the plugs, all the basics, essentially. And then it does talk about, in pretty good detail, the input and video options. You know, how the cheat codes and the database stuff works, and how the online scoreboard works. So you get a pretty good amount of information in there, very easy to read. Also tells you how to update the AVS, little troubleshooting on TV compatibility. Then we do get the full system specs listed in here. So if you want to take a look at that, go ahead and read her. I can't read it, so freeze frame that bad boy and read that stuff if you're so inclined to get more information. And then you get this little pamphlet. Has a bunch of their games that they've created, because retroUSB, they're more well known as a homebrew cartridge company. You know, they were one of the first to do the Nintendo World Championship reproduction cart. I'm going to have that to take a look at as well pretty soon, but you can get a little bit of information on some of their games in that little pamphlet there. So let's go ahead and set that stuff aside. Prepping up to get this bad boy plugged in and checked her out. But what we're really going to do in this video is compare the AVS and the RETRON HD, see how they both perform. And we're going to be testing that with Splatterhouse. So that's going to be our benchmark, is Splatterhouse. And then just to point out, there are 4 hubs here. The RETRON has 2. You can use any NES style controller, the original dog bone. You can use the Retrobit dog bone, or you can use the Hyperkin Cadet, which is my preferred NES controller at the moment. So without further ado, let's get this party started. Okay, so upon initial boot up of your AVS, this will be the menu screen that you are presented with. You have a few options here, so let's go ahead and take a look. Input options, this you can go ahead and change menu buttons. It's like a shortcut to reset the game back to the menu. So right here I set it to down and select. And then you can also use a combination that you could select to turn on and off your cheats. The expansion emulation is an option that translates US peripherals into Japanese expansion equivalents. So that's, for example, the Japanese Famicom didn't have the 4-score through the same ports that we did, so you could use that to use on a Famicom game. But if you're using the expansion port that's on the back for a peripheral, you would make sure that expansion is off. And then you could also change your turbo, the A and B buttons off. You can make it so a non-turbo controller has turbo functionality. You can change the 4-score options as well, take the controllers off, kind of pointless. And then next, we do have some video options. You can change it to NTSC or PAL. You can change our pixel aspect, set the shape of each pixel. It doesn't use any filters or blurring or anything like that. It'll always output with sharp edges. The vertical border is going to be a very similar thing. Scan lines, you can bump up scan lines to mimic a CRT. So you can have them thicker, darker, more prominent. The left side, it improves appearance when a game hides the left column of the background. It's best shown in Super Mario Bros. 3, if you know what I'm talking about. You'll have like the little dumping ground. The extra sprites, the NES had a limit of 8 sprites per scan line, so this increases it to 15, making some games flicker less. So if there are games that rely on the 8 sprite limit, you'll have to make sure that is off. But if you turn it on a lot of games that have issues with flickering, might make the games look a little better. And then the EXP volume, it's the expansion audio from the NES and Famicom carts. So if they did not have expansion audio, it will not work. Then we do have Game Genie, where you can input your Game Genie codes for any game that you got. So we got built-in Game Genie. That's what I'm talking about. And then also we do have the scoreboard, the online scoreboard. You have to have it plugged into a computer through USB, and you can track your high scores on the NintendoAge.com forum. The one thing I forgot to mention was this autoplay. If you turn it on, when you put your cartridge in, power the system on, it boots your game up just like normal instead of going into this menu screen. So that's something I almost forgot to mention. Comes in handy if you just want that seamless experience, but you can always press those menu buttons to go back to the menu screen. So let's go ahead and start up Splatterhouse. Okay, so there were some obvious differences here. So in this handy dandy little chart that I've provided, AVS on the left, RETRON HD on the right, you're gonna see the colors are just crisper, darker, brighter, more vibrant on the AVS. Everything's sharp and detailed, whereas the RETRON HD, everything's lighter. A lot of things kind of just blend together. Everything's really smooth and just lacking detail versus the AVS when it's running this game. So let's go ahead and check them out side by side, playing in real time. So, after all that, is the retroUSB AVS for you? Or would you much rather have the RETRON HD? Price difference, obviously. The AVS, $170 on sale pre-order right now. Or you can get a RETRON HD for $40. Well, it's all going to be up to what you want. The AVS has tons of options. Game Genie built in. A lot of video options that you can tweak with. Has the 4 control ports built in. There's a lot of cool stuff going on with the AVS. The graphics, it outputs them at 720. Very sharp, clear, crisp, really awesome. The RETRON HD, I don't know. I mean, it's washed out, a little blurry. You lose a lot of detail. But at the same time, I mean, you get what you pay for. If you're fine with all that, it doesn't make the games any less enjoyable. But if you just want to have the best of the best, I think the AVS is a definite great option. You could always get the analog and pay $500, or the mini for $450. But you know, those outputs to 1080. But the NES was natively 240. 240 can be upscaled to 720 very easily, and it's, you know, it makes sense. 1080. 240 doesn't go into 1080 quite well, so I think there's some issues there. But also the analog, there's a lot more options and things that you could tweak with that system as well, compared against the AVS. But I'm very happy with my purchase. Just wanted to put this out there, let you guys decide. Hope you guys liked the video. Smash that like button as well. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. And I'll catch you guys next time. Boom.